Hey, you caught me in my studio working on our latest project, and you're going to love this one. You're going to want to follow it all the way through. We're doing a series, and we're working with a great couple, Vin and Lisa Fetty, and they have a ministry that they're working on. It's called Worship Live. Their website is worshiplive.com. And we're working together with them because they're in a position that many of you are. They have a great idea. They have incredible talents. They have all this passion. They're willing to do whatever it takes to put this ministry together to help other people, but it's just not getting the traction they want it to. So we've offered to take them through my series on 7 steps to success. And they've been gracious enough to let you watch the progress and listen in to what our discussions are with them. And so this week we're going to have our first discussion with them, and we're just kind of getting to know what's going on, where they're at, and what they want to accomplish, and all these things. So I want to invite you to join us for this series. It's going to be great. Click on subscribe so you don't miss any of them. And you're going to pick up some really helpful things for your business or your ministry. And eventually we'll be making this into an online course. And if you need more help than that, of course, we're always here for you too. But I hope you'll enjoy it as we work with Vin and Lisa. Let's assume I know nothing about Worship Live.
Okay.
Explain it to me in just a few minutes, what Worship Live is.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I thought you were going to answer.
I can answer what it is, but...
Are you deferring to me? Okay. Worship Live is a brand new ministry that has received a rather large call, but we're taking it one small step at a time. We're committed to really redeeming the music industry, and that happens one life at a time. And so part of what that will look like will be mentoring conferences where we bring people together to collaborate with one another to write new songs. The music really has such an impact on so many people. You know, a song really can minister to someone. It can change the way you think. It can touch your heart. And when we start with the songs that are being released, we start to begin to shape the message that's out there.
Okay. Vin?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Worship Live is exactly that. It's taking everything that is kind of been corrupted through people's lives, mental health issues, the facets of drug addiction, suicide,
Yes.
loneliness, and that's where music kind of gets into those cracks. So we imagined everything in a person's life cracks. And when they're suicidal or they have mental issues that go beyond help, that's all, they're spiritually cracked. And music, and our kind of call is to come in with music that disciples, and that discipleship that music kind of goes in and fills those cracks in. So that's really what Worship Live is a catalyst for affecting change throughout communities and cities and towns, and through airways, taking back the airways that have been kind of corrupted in the past. And we're kind of going in the wrong direction. And Worship Live call and clarion call really is to help set that straight. Not us, but the Holy, to be catalyst for the Holy Spirit to do that.
Right.
Okay. Rick, you've been involved with them for some time and heard their heart and everything. Follow up on that and briefly share what you see Worship Live being from all your conversations with them.
Well, the thing that really stuck out to me, besides their hearts, I just love Vin and Lisa so much, and know that everything that they're working towards is going, back to kingdom building, back to the Lord, and that their target wasn't just Christian artists who may have fallen astray or whatever. It's to all artists, all musicians, writers. And so it's the secular audience as well, and that may even be the primary target. I'm still not completely clear, right, Vin? I mean,
that's.
Oh no, just you explain it. I don't want.
Sorry.
Don't have him clarify. I just want you to say what you so you kind of know their hearts, but you're still not 100% sure what they're doing.
Yeah. Here's the one that really grabbed me though with it was they 3 words: seize the darkness, and those 3 words really grabbed me. Because I know that it's going to take a real aggressive, proactive effort for us to right the ship, and that worship, it's raising, and it's not just song, right? I mean, it's just raising up our hearts and our minds, everything that we are to God, thanking Him for who He is and for His gifts to us. And that we can redirect those, I guess all gifts come from God, and we're the ones that are the custodians of those gifts. And Worship Live is going to help them bring that back, put the rudder in the water and help them, bring it back to where it was all predestined to be. And that was for us to be instruments of that gift and lift it back up to the Lord. And so to do that, seizing the darkness, the darkness is, basically taken over the music scene. And, Satan, what I know about him is that was his gifting, was music, and that his body was actually even made up of instruments.
Yes.
And so it was that important that the number one guy, and I think he was even above Michael and Gabriel, in the tier of things, that God blessed him with music. And that's how important that is.
Okay, let me get back to them just a second here. Let me get back to them just a little bit. What was behind this? Did you have a vision of something? In other words, that first inclination, was it a vision to do something better? Was it the realization of a problem that you felt called to help solve? What was that first spark, or that first moving in your heart that you wanted to do this?
I'll take it. So 17 years ago, and during time of prayer, and I was, had music on in the background, and it happened to be Rich Mullins' music. And so I was listening and just praying. And then I went about doing my typical day. And I got done my prayer time, but I was in prayer up until then. And then I heard the Lord speak to me, and it's still small voice. It wasn't like a loud boom and that some people get, but this voice said, I want you to take up and carry on the work of Rich Mullins. I didn't know what that, of course I didn't know what that meant at the time. I have no idea. So that's kind of the spark that started it all. It was the realization that God had something on his heart that he was conveying to a guy like me. And I worked through it for 17, this is going on for 17 years, but working through what that exactly was at the time. And that was the spark 17 years ago that started really Worship Live. It wasn't Worship Live yet. It was just a matter of, hey, God's called me to do this. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's just songwriting. I don't know if that part of it, or if it's part of doing music education, like Rich was doing. So, So he's just starting to reveal that now after 17 years.
Lisa, Why now? It's been 17 years. Why now?
That's a great question. We've really been praying about this for quite some time. Of course, when Vin got that word, it's something that he's been praying on for a long time, and really how that's supposed to come to pass. What does it mean to pick up where Rich left off? About 4 years ago, God began to show us some more about the vision, and specifically Worship Live, and about his desire to see change begin in the music, and to have there's even things we haven't even shared that God has given us back then that's not yet. And I think now is the time, because the time is short in general. You can look around and just see what is going on in this world and know that we have limited time. And we don't want to waste a single precious minute to even reach one person and make an effective change in their life for the gospel of Jesus Christ, and to see their hearts healed and their lives changed and transformed through Jesus Christ. There's no time to waste. And when we began with the calling for Worship Live specifically, it was something we wanted to rush right in and do. And whenever you hear something from the Lord and you're excited about it, you want to act. But there have been governors in the spirit just kind of saying, okay, you got to have a plan. You have to have a vision and an outline and know what you're doing, and wait upon the Lord for each step of the way. And it's been 4 years, and it's time to begin because there's so little time left.
Okay. So what are you going to do? You said that, you know, we need to do something. What are you going to do?
Well, we've started with, right now we have the Christian Musician Relief Fund, and that is really the step we felt led to take first. With hearing about so many of the Christian music artists that are financially struggling, a lot of people have been affected by COVID-19. A lot of times, though, when you're someone like a gig worker, like a musician would be considered, it's harder to get help. And a lot of the help that was available was for secular musicians. And so, you know, people that make their living in the Christian music space, they're selling their equipment. They're selling their instruments because they can't make their bills. They need food. They need to pay their mortgage. And so when we saw that, we couldn't sit back and do nothing. So we started the Christian Musician Relief Fund, and that is really where we've started right now.
Okay.
We have Seize the Darkness too, competition, a songwriting competition.
Okay. You keep using the term "seize the darkness."
Mm-hmm.
Explain to me, as someone that just came across your website, and what do you mean seize the darkness?
It means to grab a hold of things that are happening in people's lives, where they're going the wrong way. So they're not going towards life and life abundantly. They're going to kill, steal, destroy. And we are seizing the opportunity to make sure that we're doing everything we can to stop the enemy's plan and the enemy's attack on the music industry and the attack on the Christian musician, artist, and secular that are ready to make the jump to have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Okay. When this is up, full speed, cruising, going, what are you going to be doing? What's it going to be doing?
The Seize the Darkness songwriting competition or Worship Live Ministries? Everything. Worship Live Ministries. There's a lot once it's up and going and running. So we have MMI, which is the Mobile Music Initiative, that's taking songwriting and music camps into it's starting off in just bringing it to communities where that's a paid like camp. And then we're taking those finances and then we're going in with the same team and we're going into a underprivileged, orphanages, towns and cities that have been ravaged by darkness. And we're going to take that in and we're going to have a 3-day camp there paid for by the first camp. So that's the first one. And then I'll let Lisa talk. I mean, we have a lot.
We do have a lot.
Yeah, we might have to be here for a while if we do that.
It's okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, Vin shared about MMI, and that really is something that is really so dear to our heart because we don't want anyone to miss out on the opportunity to take the creativity that God's given them. And we believe everyone's got a song in them. Everyone's got a song inside of them. And so having those mobile camps come into places where maybe the children wouldn't have an opportunity to ever learn an instrument, or in a prison. Anywhere we can bring the light of Jesus Christ to the underserved is where those free camps are going to take place. So that's the Mobile Music Initiative. Additionally, we're going to have an annual songwriters conference. And you hear there's so many Christian conferences and concerts and things to attend and symposiums and things. But this, we truly feel, is something God gave us early on, where we're inviting songwriters to come. They're going to be trained and mentored by leading songwriters in the Christian space. And then they're going to be activated to collaborate with one another. And so they are going to be sitting down with people they may never have thought to collaborate with to write a song for the Lord. And our desire is for that to grow into the MAC ministry, which is our music artists for change. And the music artists for change is something that goes on all year round, where the members of MAC, whether they're in the same city and can meet in person or they do it virtually, but they collaborate on writing songs together for God. And we're expecting to see a whole new level of creativity and even a new type of music sound come from that. You may have people who have really been locked into one genre for a while with their creativity branching out because they've now had this chance to work with someone who's just different from them. And that's exciting to me. I'm looking forward to hearing these new songs because, the Bible tells us to bring a new song before the Lord. And I believe that the creativity that's going to come forth from those collaborations is something that is going to be a catalyst for change because as we said earlier, we truly believe that music goes where nothing else can. And it ministers to the heart in a way that sometimes just regular words just don't.
Okay. I'm kind of like a psychologist. I take notes as you go.
Should I be laying down for this?
No, but occasionally I may ask you, how does that make you feel?
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. So this sounds marvelous. It sounds like a great vision that you have. It sounds like, well, before going further, Rick, did they leave anything out that you're aware of?
Kauai. What's going on in Kauai?
God has called us to Kauai. I was in, again, prayer time, but this time I was in we had done 40 days of Deuteronomy 28. And we had gone through this 4 times a day. God said, do it 4 times a day. And we had just been that for 30 days. We'd done that. And so God said, hey, I want you to do these videos. I'm going to give you the word a day. You're going to do the video. And then tomorrow I'm going to give you the next word and you're going to do a video. So I was repeating doing that, but I was kind of like, it was at night and I was kind of in panic mode because I had been busy that day. And I needed to do the video for the next day. So I was praying, and I was praying in the Spirit. I was really intensely looking for that word, saying, "Okay, God, what is the word?" I was going to sit here and listen. I'm going to pray, and then all of a sudden, minding my own business. I didn't really want or was desiring, but all of a sudden this 4K, 8K, whatever you want to call it, big vision came with this family was there. And then there was this man, he was saying, come at first. He was just like, come. And I was looking intensely, and I was really looking at it, this vision that was happening in front of me, this open-aired vision. And it was like, come to Kauai, come to Kauai. And in my mind, I'm like, what's Kauai? And so that happened. And so like, I didn't tell Lisa that. I shook it off. I said, okay, that was probably made some bad pizza. So I went on, and I was again in prayer, heavy prayer. I was praying about tomorrow's word. I was praying about it. It was about a week and a half ago. A week and a half later, it was every day I was having these words from God. And then all of a sudden, boom, hit it again. Now this time the vision was so vivid, and it was so loud. It was a loud vision. They were all going, come to Kauai. And they were excited, and they were calling and calling and calling. And I was like, whoa, what's going on right now? And so immediately after that, I got up and went and told Lisa. I said, Lisa, what's Kauai? And it looked like island, almost Filipina. I don't know if that's the correct word or not. I kill the English language. But I said, Lisa, what is this? And she said, let's look it up. She said, oh, it's in Hawaii. And I said, oh, okay, because I got this vision. It said, come to Kauai. So that's how kind of Kauai came to be. It's the short version of it. And ever since then, we kind of like put it on the back a little bit. And that was almost 6 years ago. And then God kept reiterating it and saying and speaking to me personally about Kauai and Worship Live, and Worship Live eventually being in Kauai. So that's Kauai. He said a lot more about it too, but yeah.
A couple of questions here. One is, what were the videos that he was asking you to do?
They were everyday videos. He didn't want me getting all like fired up. He's like very specific about the videos would just be that what I posted on YouTube. I've got some that aren't uploaded, but he would say, okay, today's video, it's going to be on this. Here's the word of the day. And I would go there and I would like, Lisa, look at this word that I got from God. This is amazing. For us, it was amazing. So I put it on the video, and then I put it up. And they were different every day. I had no idea what he was going to speak about the next day, but every time I spoke about it, it touched me to the point where I got emotional, but I couldn't really be emotional on the videos. I had to be like, pretty straight laced. And this is the word of the day. So
it was a word, but what was it? Did it have anything
scripture?
To do with music? Or
it was scripture. It was really about it was more really about journey than anything. I think when we look back on them, and the last one that I actually did was when we were leaving to come back to Colorado, and we were in Florida when I got that Kauai vision. But when we were coming back to Colorado, we were all sick. We all had the stomach flu. And I was just like, the last thing I wanted to do was do this video. I have to really dig the video up, because the word was so intense and so good that it went beyond anything that I could come. I mean, I was sick as a dog. I was not thinking about the gospel and how can I affect change in the kingdom. It was more like, how can I find the bucket fast enough?
True, we were all so sick.
So Lisa filmed me right in her dad's. We were all in her dad's little 1-bedroom apartment in Tampa, and that was the last one. So yeah.
Okay, so when are you guys supposed to be in Kauai? I mean, is that next step stuff, or is it something down the road? Or when you get there, how are you going to get there? And then what are you going to do there? What's the vision that you have for Worship Live in Kauai?
It's the next step to get there, to actually put our feet on the ground. And that's to set up the conference, the songwriting conference right there in Kauai, and start to set that up, start to speak, start to actually get to know the community. And that's really important to us, is to bring the community in to where we're not where we're at, but where they're at. And, you know, we have a heart to get to the place where we can actually get to the community.
Okay.
So does that come before you launch any of these initiatives? Or, I mean, you know, when do you need to be there, and what's it going to take to get you there and get you up and running? What do you need?
Well, we need heavy faith, which we have. We have big faith, but we also need finances. I mean, to make sure that we don't get there, and then, you know, we can't find, you know, we can find our footing there. I know we will find our footing there, but it's the actual making sure that we have the freedom to go into those neighborhoods and start to minister alongside with other churches and bring in some of Worship Live's calling into those communities also. So it's going to take money. It's going to take finances. It's going to take volunteers, just other than Lisa and I. And
this may or may not be a result of the growth of the ministry, or I get that you're still not exactly sure what the timetable for that is. That's just part of the overall vision. Okay.
No, we're supposed to go immediately. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So the Kauai is going to be within, it could be now. If it presented itself, we would go now. And, but it looks like July, August, very possibly that, you know, we wanted to go at the end of this month. It just didn't present itself just yet. One thing we don't want to do is run in front of God on anything. So we've really been praying, and we believe that his timing is going to be end of July, August. So we've really been, just been really tagging into what God's saying to us.
Are you looking for the ministry to be self-supporting, or are you looking to have outside support for the ministry?
We would love it to be self-supporting. And I mean, if outside support comes, that's great, because it brings people into the vision and the mission of what God's doing. That part of it would be great. If we have, what we're trying to build is a self-sustaining ministry, if at all possible.
What about the ministry would generate revenue?
The Kauai Songwriters Conference would generate revenue. The songwriting. So we have the songwriting competition that at the end of it, we want to take those winners, and we want to then take the 6 winners and put those on the Mac Collective. So the Mac Collective is those winning songs that we feel are the most discipleship driven, that to the heart of the matter, and we'll make finances from that back into the ministry, so that we can then go on to like Ohana House and all the other things that God has called us to. So there's some things that we're trying to do right now that are revenue generating, but we're open to ideas, because we want to see this grow, and we don't want it to grow so fast that we lose ourselves in it, but we want it to grow fast because we know that people need it. We've heard from others that they need it.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's important to have financial partnership, because when people sow into a ministry and people that are doing the work of the Lord, they get a reward as well. And so when people come alongside and they can grab a hold of the vision, and they're like, yes, I see that you're doing something and you're making a difference for the kingdom of God. Not everybody, like we even talk about this with missions, not everybody can be the missionary that gets to go to the foreign nation. And so, but those who give get the same reward with the Lord as the ones who go. And so financial partnership, I think, is important, because we all want to make change. We all want to affect and make a difference for the kingdom of God, but we don't always have a means to do that. And so when we can sow finances toward a work that is making a difference, then we are helping move the kingdom forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you hit a nail on the head that we're going to talk about next time in depth. And you talked about ministries losing their way. Ministries, businesses, people, they all lose their way because they haven't sat down and really thought through things. where they're going, what they're doing. Elijah, after killing the 400 prophets of Baal, he was completely lost. He ran off. He said, "Lord, take me now. I'm done." And God ministered to him. Then God said, "Okay, now it's time to get back in the saddle." And God had to remind him what he was doing there. What happens in ministries, and we see many of the very large ministries today, large churches, this happens. What they do is they reach a point of what I call self-awareness. In other words, where they shift from the ministry they're doing to sustaining the ministry. That becomes more important than anything. And sometimes ministries are for a season, and we don't like to think of that, but that's kind of how those get lost. The sustaining and the perpetuation of the ministry becomes more important, and largely that happens because they get to where they're so heavily involved in physical resources and physical buildings and everything else that they just have to keep it up. They're huge employers, and they just don't know what to do. But that's a whole nother issue to deal with. We're working to get this going, getting this started. And what you've shared today has been very, very helpful. I appreciate you taking time to share with everyone what your vision is. And then as we sit down next time, we're gonna start some of the work. You have half of the first step done, and you've done it very well. But it's a point that many people try and launch from, and it's not the launching point yet. And so we'll begin to work through that. We'll begin to take you to the next step that really starts to tie what you want with other people, and that's what you need to do right now. Are you frustrated at this point a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. What's your frustration, Vin?
The frustration really comes from people thinking our baby is cute. That's what I said the other day. Like, I got this email back and it said, "Oh, you love what you've done, but what is, we can't help you until you have 10 million in the bank and you're down the road 10 years, and then we can help you." And the frustration is for those who want to go get, there's trying to get those resources to even launch and do some of these initiatives and launch ministries that are going to have effectual change, that we can say 6 months or a year from now, this is the change that was created. Is people saying, "Hey, that baby that you have in your arms, very cute, but come back to me when they're playing football for the Rams."
I understand exactly, and that is where you are, and you're gonna stay there unless we can get you that next step. And the next step is not that hard to do. It's hard to see, and once that light bulb goes on, then that's that first step to really it's like I say, it's easy to do, but it's a giant step in this process. And the giant step is inside of you too. So we're going to look at that next time. We're going to take that step and we're going to work it through. So what you've shared today is very, very helpful. We'll be talking a little bit next time about how these things tie to your website, this next step that we want to take, and how it can make a huge difference for you so that your baby can start to grow.
Okay, good, cool. Yeah.
Anything to add, Rick?
Well, just really the ask more, pointing people in a direction. They can go to worshiplive.com and look through all the initiatives and the projects that they're working on, and there's an opportunity for them. If somebody has a vision for it and would like to support the ministry, there's a great need there. Absolutely,
and I invite people to join us in this journey and watch this baby grow.
Hey, cool, yeah.
So how does that fit with what we're doing, Tim? With thy use, people, and purpose.
We'll tie that in every step of the way, Rick.
All right.
We start we're all of that ties together, and it gets to be something where it becomes very four-dimensional for you. And you, once you understand it, you begin to work. But we're just going to walk you through it in incremental steps. And as you do it, then it just all comes together. So I appreciate you sharing today.
Absolutely. Thanks.
We look forward to working on this project together, and I have great expectations what the Lord's going to do.
Amen. Yeah, we do too.
Okay.
All right.
Well, for this segment of Values, People, and Purpose, I'm Tim Buchanan.
I'm Rick Reddy.
I'm Vin Fetty.
And I'm Lisa Fetty.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you'll stay for this saga in this wonderful journey of helping grow this ministry. Till next time, take care.
Thanks.